The standard for the best skateboarding shoes has changed a lot over the years. I mean, at one point, the Osiris D3s were considered the best skateboarding shoes ever, and now there's not a single skate shoe around that looks even remotely similar to them. So today we're going to be taking a look at some of the best skateboarding shoes that are still around. Links to all of these are going to be in the description, but as always, I recommend buying from your local skate shop if you can. Now, full disclaimer, I haven't skated every single shoe on this list, but I have skated most of them, and I tried to be as unbiased as possible whenever I was making it. If you feel like I left any good ones off, just leave a comment and let me know. Don't freak out. I don't know why, but people get so upset when I don't mention things. So just leave a comment. It's fine. Other people will comment too. They'll see it. It's good. Also, do me a favor, leave a like. It really helps out my channel. And with that said, let's just get right into the video. The Nike Stefan Janowskis are arguably one of the best skate shoes Nike has ever made, and it's also just a great skate shoe in general. It was Stefan Janowski's first pro model shoe back in 2009, and since it came out, there's been dozens of redesigns and colorways released. The shoe was so popular that they started making different versions, including suede, canvas, leather, Air Max Janowskis, slip-on Janowskis, mid-top Janowskis, and even leather mid-top Janowskis. Since there's so many different styles of the shoe, it's hard to describe Janowskis as a whole, but regardless of the style, they all share a low-profile vulcanized rubber sole with a really good grip pattern on the bottom. When it comes to grip, Janowskis are up there with the waffle cone design by Vans, which can't be said for a lot of shoes. Janowskis have a pretty simple layout. There's a really long toe cap with very minimal stitching, so there's not a lot of places for them to rip. They break in really easily, and they have amazing board feel. There isn't a lot of cushion, but Nike does use insoles with a padded heel that feel a lot better than other shoes with a similar design. Depending on the style of Janowskis you get, they can range anywhere from $50 on the low end all the way up to $120 or more on the high end. But again, it really just depends on the style that you get. The Vans Kyle Walker Pro is one of the newest models to the Vans lineup, but it's definitely one of their best skate shoes. A lot of Vans are known for having great grip and board feel, but they tend to wear out much faster than other shoes, and they usually have little to no padding. Unlike most other Vans, the Kyle Walker Pros have a completely different design to them. They use Vans' new waffle cup design, which is a combination between a cup sole and a vulcanized skate shoe. This allows the shoe to have a cup sole for the heel with the rest of the shoe being vulcanized. Now, the Kyle Walker Pros are a little heavier than other Vans, but they also have a lot more padding. There's cushion in the tongue and around the ankle, and they also have pretty thick padded insoles, especially compared to other Vans. The shoe is made of a combination of suede, canvas, and leather, and they also have the same Duracap material inside of the toe that they use in some of their other shoes. Vans is one of the oldest skateboarding shoe brands out there, so they already have a pretty extensive list of shoe models, and it's pretty rare that they come out with a new one, but overall, the Vans Kyle Walker Pros have to be one of the best skateboarding shoes that they've made. The Converse Chuck Taylor All-Star might be the most iconic sneaker ever created, and they also happen to be one of the best shoes for skateboarding. Converse started out as a basketball shoe almost 100 years ago, and they really haven't changed a whole lot since then. There's different versions of the Chuck Taylors, but the Chuck Taylor All-Star Pros are the best version for skateboarding. They have the same style as other Chuck Taylors, but they have much better insoles. They're also made of suede, which makes them last way longer than the cheap canvas ones. The All-Star Pros are made almost entirely of suede, with the exception of the all-rubber toe cap that Converse are known for. The solid rubber toe cap makes them last forever, and you're much more likely to blow through the bottom of the shoe than to ever get a hole in the front. Overall, just because they're so iconic to skateboarding and because they work so well, the Converse All-Star Pros have to be one of the best skateboarding shoes out there. The Lakai Manchester was first made back in 2007, and it's since become known as one of Lakai's signature models. The Manchester is a pretty standard vulcanized shoe. It has basic panels and a clean toe cap with basically no stitching on it. The laces are a little bit further up the shoe, which keeps them from tearing too easily. Even though it's vulcanized, it's not super flimsy like a lot of other vulcanized shoes. The Manchesters have a decent amount of cushion in the insole, ankle, and tongue. The tongue has elastic straps on the sides that keeps it from getting pushed to one side or the other, which if you've ever skated a pair of shoes where that happens, you know how annoying it is, so it's definitely a nice feature to have. There's really nothing too crazy about the Lakai Manchester. It's basically just a good all-around skateboarding shoe. There's been a few different styles of the Manchesters over the years, but regardless of the style, they're usually under 70 bucks, which is pretty solid for such a nice skate shoe. The Booznits are without a doubt one of the most well-rounded shoes that Adidas makes. They come in both a cupsole and vulcanized version, and they share the same general layout, so you can get whichever style that you prefer. The Booznits has a solid amount of cushion in the insole, around the ankle, and even a little on the tongue. The tongue is also extended, so you can either wear it in front of your pant leg, fold it in, or cut it off completely. It has a decent sized toe cap, and the laces are far enough back so they don't rip super easy. In general, the Booznits aren't too heavy, they have a nice amount of padding, and they come in both vulcanized and cupsole versions, so it'd be hard to find a more well-balanced skate shoe. They tend to go for $70 to $80, which can be a little on the high end for skate shoes, but they'll definitely last a while. The Marana is one of the most popular shoes made by Etnies, and it's had a ton of different versions over the years. The most popular style of the Marana was probably the Chris Jocelyn's, but they all share the same basic layout. You can get the Etnies Marana in both vulcanized and cupsole versions, but the cupsole seems to be much more common and easy to find. So the Marana has a few key things that make it stand out as one of the best skate shoes. It has a fused-on rubber toe cap that takes forever to wear through. Unlike other rubber toe caps though, it's much more low profile and it doesn't stick out as much. This kind of comes with a few benefits. It can make it easier to adjust to having a rubber toe cap instead of just a suede one, and also some people just prefer the way that it looks. The Marana also has an impact resistant foam midsole, which is a lot better than the standard skate shoe insole. It also has a padded tongue and collar, so it's great for anyone who likes to jump down stuff, which makes sense because it's Chris Jocelyn's shoe.
As a kid, this rap is fundamental and my sound so wicked. A little taste of the beatbox sound with the backdrop of doo-hop, and this is...
So I decided to group the Nike All-Core and Adidas Matchcore together because they're just so similar. The Nike All-Core and the Adidas Matchcore are two of the best skateboarding shoes out there, but like a lot of the best skate shoes, they actually didn't start out in skateboarding. They were both modeled after a classic style of tennis shoe, and the design works surprisingly well for skateboarding. Tennis players tend to rub their toe on the ground a lot, so the shoes were designed with a thick rubber toe cap, which just so happens to work perfectly for skateboarding. It seems impossible to wear the rubber toe cap all the way down. I've personally had 4 pairs of Matchcourts, and I've never worn all the way through the toe. Both the All-Core and the Matchcore are slim-fitting vulcanized shoes. They somewhat vary when it comes to the spacing of the material on the shoe, but overall they're very similar. They don't have the best insoles, but that's really the only downside to them. You can get a pair of either of them for around $50 to $70, which is pretty good considering how long they last. Nike SB Dunks are for sure one of the most well-known skate shoes out there. People were skating in Dunks long before Nike SB was even a thing, so whenever Nike finally tweaked them and made them better for skateboarding, they became even more popular. Since the shoe was originally made for basketball, it's a little more bulky than the average skate shoe. It gives you a lot more padding than a lot of other skate shoes, and it's also just more firm in general, so it's not going to wear out and get really flimsy easily. Nike SB Dunks have a cupsole design, and they actually come with some really good insoles, which kind of makes sense since they started out as basketball shoes. Some of the more popular Dunks were the Ishod Wares and more recently the Travis Scotts. They've been made in basically every colorway you can think of, so there's really no shortage of styles to choose from. They can be a bit pricey, with some Dunks starting at $60 and then others going well past $100, but if you're into thicker, more padded shoes, then you'll probably love SB Dunks. The Romero Laced is one of the best skate shoes by America. The shoe has a low-profile cupsole design with a minimalist style to it. It comes in both suede and leather options, with the leather version looking more like a classy dress shoe than the average skate shoe. Despite being a cupsole, the low-profile design really makes them look and even skate like a normal vulcanized shoe. They have much better board feel than most cupsoles, and they don't take quite as long to break in. There's also a few smaller features on the shoe that really come in handy. Depending on the style, they come with an extra pair of waxed laces, which last way longer than normal laces. Also, on the bottom of the shoe is what America likes to call a high-density rubber heel pod, which is basically just a thicker piece of rubber that allows you to drag your heel to slow down without wearing a hole through the shoe. Most versions of the Romero Lace only cost around $60, so it's pretty hard to beat. The Nike Nyjah Frees were a pretty big deal when they first came out, because up until that point, there really wasn't anything else like it. The shoe is essentially a neoprene sock inside of a thin rubber exterior that covers almost the entire outside of the shoe. There's some breathing holes throughout the shoe so they don't get too hot, which is much needed because, let's face it, almost the entire shoe is made of rubber, so they're gonna get pretty hot. There's also a really cool lacing system that keeps the laces held in place. The Nike Ninja Free is supposed to be somewhat of a vulcanized cupsole hybrid that's pretty easy to break in and has good board feel, but still holds up well and has decent cushion. They have a super clean design and they almost look like a running shoe. It seems like Nike might have been trying to design a skate shoe that both skateboarders and non-skateboarders would like, which I could easily see being the case. You're gonna have a hard time finding a pair of Ninjas for under $95, but they last way longer than the average suede shoe, so if you're into that style, then they're definitely one of the best skate shoes out there. Also, as a side note, I heard that they're vegan, so there's that, I guess. So that just about does it for this list. Those are the best skate shoes that are still around. Like I said, I try to think of the best skate shoes for everyone's preferences and not my own. But again, if you feel like I left any good ones off, just leave a comment and let me know. Also, if you made it this far, you probably didn't hate the video. So just do me a favor and leave a like. It really helps out my channel. And with that said, thanks for watching.